Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Rufus, Edmisten, and Becki Gray, a group of legislators in North and South Carolina are recommending we study deregulating our electric utilities so that more competition can be allowed for generating power. One big hurdle is who would own the power transmission lines, the telephone poles, and so forth. The regulated monopolies have built them and own them. What's your reaction to this proposal? As Attorney General, you were our lawyer in North Carolina. What do you think of this?
I had a whole section on regulating utilities, and this came up occasionally. Now, I'm all for people competing. I don't like monopolies. We see what they bring. They bring sometimes stifle service. But at the same time, this would be a myriad of problems. I'm sure glad they say let's study, because this would be one of the most difficult things I can ever dream of to implement. And I would hope that this study would be a measured one without jumping off, because it will be tens of years in the making if they do it.
Yeah, let's chase that rabbit down the hole here in just a second. Can you see two telephone poles sitting along the side of the same road from two different utility companies?
Well, I mean, that's the question. I mean, not only are we talking about a lot of time to work through this, but we're also talking about a tremendous amount of money that would be involved with this. When you talk about the grid and the investment that the utilities have put into the system, you know, where all this solar energy and wind energy and coal energy and everything else is plugged in so that then it goes to our houses and our homes and our businesses and all of this, that grid, that infrastructure is tremendously, number one, important to transmit that energy. It's expensive. The utilities have invested in that. So how are you going, what are you going to do? Are you going to build a whole nother infrastructure and grid, or are you going to somehow allow other energy producers to plug into the grid? And what is the expectation of how are you going to pay for this?
One of the proposals was that we were going to take all these poles and this distribution system and form a nonprofit that's going to buy them and own them and compensate the utilities companies.
Boy, that's another complication. What are you going to do about electric cities? That's got to be in the blend too somehow. I'm glad they say a study, because I don't want to be on the study panel either.
Right. This seems to be driven a lot by the renewable energy industry and their efforts and their frustration, quite frankly. They're producing all this energy and they want to plug it into the grid and they want to make a lot of money. The utility companies own that grid, so who's going to pay who? Rental space, if you will, or to be able to do that.
So is this a problem in search? Is this a solution in search of a problem?
That's the other thing that you really have to think about. When you look across the country, I mean, we have low utility rates in North Carolina. It's driven a lot of our, you know, our manufacturing and, you know, other things. So again, you know, kind of what is the problem we're trying to solve? I tell you, if you want to look at a problem that really needs to be solved with infrastructure, we need to look at the water and sewer systems across the state and what we're going to do about those. You know, particularly in the eastern part of the state, we have water and sewer systems that were put in 50 years ago with materials that were designed to last for 50 years, with the wear and tear that we have on those systems, as well as the storms and the flooding and other things.
And from an ownership point of view, we've got just exactly the reverse situation, whereas we have a few regulated monopolies for utilities.
Yes, exactly.
These water and sewer systems are each individually owned by each county or city.
Right, yeah, and you know, and a lot of these are in very poor counties that don't have the money for, because these things are expensive. So if we're gonna put some money, if we're gonna study infrastructure needs in North Carolina, I would put the water and sewer system ahead of the electricity and the utilities.
So Rufus, we are nominating you to be our NC Spin representative.
I'll help you
on this task force.
I fought utility company rate increases for a long time, but when it all is said and done, our utility companies do a very good job of keeping us in. You think of all the disasters we've had here lately. They get the job done, and I don't recommend monopolies generally as a rule, but this is one that seems to work, and I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that could be what you're doing with unregulating.
And our State Utilities Commission has functioned pretty well through the years in helping.
As with so many things, of course we could do it better. You know, we need to make sure that, you know, just things like with the coal ash and the disposal, and, you know, that is done in a proper way and that the appropriate people are paying and assuming responsibility. I mean, you know, there's always more work to do, but I think in general, I think we're in pretty good shape there. Again, if we really want to focus resources and where we really need to put some attention, again, I think it's in the water and sewer systems.
I agree totally.
Interesting. Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.